What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Next Level Teaching. I'm your host, Jeremy Anderson, here with my super dope co-hostess with the mostest, Miss Tori Rodriguez, a.k.a. T-Rod. What it do?
Hey, Jay.
High five. Boom. You doing all right?
I'm doing great. I really am. Life's good right now.
You see that smile? No.
I think a lot of teachers can agree with me, but man, this post-pandemic teaching life just hits different right now. Like when we ended that school year, the way I've explained it a couple of times, if you've ever seen High School Musical 2, I think the one where they get out for summer and they're watching the clock tick, and then it hits, and they all throw the papers up in the air. I think that's kind of how a lot of us felt at the end of that pandemic year, and I just feel like a new person, which is so good. I'll be very transparent. I'm coming off of the anxiety meds.
Okay.
So still keeping a close eye on it, of course.
Right.
But I think for those of you that tuned in with us last season, you know that I was very honest and open about the fact that I was going to therapy and, struggling with anxiety and depression from teaching. And my new principal, yes, I said new, was talking to me, and they didn't teach concurrently at that school. Like most of the rest of us did that were teaching that online face-to-face life. That was really hard. But he said, my teachers just aren't feeling that burnout like you are. And honestly, he was like, Tori, you have PTSD from this past year. And I know that that's maybe a little controversial to say and to hear because we think PTSD and we think, military. But I think that we forget that PTSD can come from so many other things.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And so realizing that I do have PTSD, the fear of what this upcoming school year is going to be like, but also just the breadth of stepping away from teaching concurrently. And that right there has just lifted so much off my shoulders.
New school, new beginnings.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm excited for you.
Yeah.
New guest on the show.
Yes.
Dr. Quinita Morrow. How you feeling?
I'm so excited.
I'm good. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to dig into your story.
I'm excited because I think Jay knows a little bit about your story. He's known you a little bit longer. So I am just like the rest of our listeners. I am new to you, Dr. Morrow, but I am excited because I feel like we already have connected a little bit about, especially this pandemic teaching year, this past year, and what that's been like.
It's been a struggle.
It has.
I need to add something. Right? Ryan's reminding us the LLL. Yes, we want you to laugh, learn, and live your best life.
Yeah.
That's what this show is all about. But we also real.
Right.
Yeah.
It's times we'll be goofballs. There's times we'll laugh. Times we'll cry. And Tori has been very transparent to how the pandemic was and the struggle she had. And there are so many educators, and I know we had some conversations, people can relate to that. So I just want to say I'm glad to see you in a different place, in a different season, your joy, you know what I'm saying? You're working out. You got your groove back. And we're expecting and praying for sure. Yes. No doubt. And we're expecting this to continue on throughout the year. And we know it's not going to be a cakewalk.
Right.
And that ain't no such thing,
and
right?
I want to pause there and I want to talk about that because I think, especially if you are not an educator, and you're just listening because maybe you have an educator in your life, that you're trying to learn more about them for, I want people to be aware that we still are coming out of this. And as much as I think we want to believe that this new school year is going to be like normal, let's be honest, the world is not normal.
Right. Yeah, right.
We still are struggling with things, masks, no masks, vaccinated, not vaccinated. And then also filling in the gaps from what we've missed this past year. And we've talked a lot about this whole getting behind and behind who type thing. And I think what I've come to realize is it's that we are behind the expectations of the curriculum of the standards that we are being held to,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yes.
Not what we are trying to portray onto our kids, but what the standards are telling us and what the state and the county are telling us is what we are behind. Right?
Right.
And so we are realizing that, yes, we are going to be behind. We are going to have to fill in some gaps, especially as a math teacher.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. You can't learn 7th grade math if you haven't learned 6th grade math.
And we're going to be paying for this for a long time.
Yes.
It's going to be a couple of years.
Yeah.
Before we can
Yeah.
get through this.
And we are going to figure it out the best way we can, taking a day at a time, every class at a time, every moment at a time, every interaction at a time. And so as our guests and our listeners, our viewers, our supporters know, like, we are all about going to that next level and doing what we can to be the best we can be in whatever area, whatever classroom, whatever field. What blew my mind about you, Tori, did you reach out? How did we first connect? I know I went to your classroom.
You saw someone, a mutual friend that was in my class. And I think you sent me a DM or something and we just kind of connected. But that was I know at least 10 years ago.
Yeah, it was wild. And you were like, yo, can you come in and come to my class? And so I was like, let me see. And I went to her Instagram page and I'm seeing T.I. I'm seeing other rappers, celebrities,
I'm sorry, what?
actors.
You just say T.I.?
Listen to me. I'm thinking I'm talking about people that got 10 million followers. Like, folks, if you saw in the Walmart, they want to take pictures, coming to her classroom and teaching about marketing. Yeah. You talk about kids being on their best behavior after they was fanned out. I'm thinking like, shoot, I ain't nobody. Don't nobody up in here know me. I'm used to going places to focus on me. I'm walking in like, who this dude? I ain't got nothing on T.I., these other folks. But talk about that, right? How long have you How long have you been in education for, teaching?
So I've been teaching 14 years now.
Okay.
And I'll just be super transparent.
Mm-hmm.
This was a 1-year plan for me.
Really?
I wanted to get out of my corporate America job to try something different. Okay. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go out and be a teacher.
What field were you in?
I was in finance.
Okay, gotcha.
And my background is finance and human resources. Okay. So I said, okay, I'm going to give teaching a year and then we'll just see where that goes. I instantly fell in love with teaching.
Wow.
Instantly.
Was there anybody else in your family?
No, I have a cousin who's a counselor, and that's how I ended up being in the county that I was in because of her. And she was like, just go to the job fair. So I did, and I got hired on the spot, and I hadn't looked back since. Wow. This has been, I tell people all the time, this is truly an amazing field. It is. And we talk about this when I have my guests to come in. I said, is this your purpose or is this your passion?
There it is.
So for me, this became my passion that led me into my purpose. Yeah. Because I've tried to get out of education. I've tried to go back to corporate America.
Yeah, be honest.
And it wasn't there for me. I truly love what I do. I do. And for me, I wanted to meet my kids where they are, not where I want them to be.
That's it right there.
Yep.
So it started out maybe my 4th year in. I was like, what can I do different? So I reached out to a couple of my friends that I knew and asked them to come in. Right. And I had 3
Tyler
speakers.
Perry, can you come?
I had 3 speakers that year. And I saw how receptive the kids were. And I was like, okay, this could be something. I could really be on to something here. Right. So then the next year I went from 3 speakers to probably 12 speakers.
Wow.
And now out of 180 days, I may have at minimum 160 people that come into my classroom.
Wow.
Shut the fuck.
Wow.
And it's crazy because it literally blew up. Out of nowhere. Wow. It just took off. And people, my friends talk about me all the time. They're like, oh, you don't ever do anything. You're not working. You have all these people come in and teach. But it's a lot of work.
They're like, you are brilliant. You get paid a lot to have other people do
But it is the back work behind it.
It's the back work. But for me, I get so much out of seeing my kids to be able to hear from people. Because think about it. For them, I don't care what I tell them. At the end of the day, I'm still their teacher. But if you're living the lifestyle that they attain to have, they're going to listen to you before they listen to me, no matter how many times I say it.
Yeah.
So for me, that was important. Wow. So reaching out to guests, reaching out to speakers, I tell people it's become an addiction. Because now it's like, okay, who am I going to have next? Who am I going to have next?
And I imagine once you get these different musicians and artists and celebrities to come on, it's easy to tell us because it's like, I had this person on, I had that person on.
It is. And as you know, in my classroom, I have like this wall of fame. So every speaker that comes in, we take photos together and I post them all over my classroom.
Am I
so
on there?
literally, yes, of course you are.
Look at him. Look at him. He blushing a little
You know
bit.
what I'm saying? A little bit.
But at the
That's
end
amazing.
of the day, it's really a selling point for me to get kids actively involved in wanting to take my program.
Yeah.
Because
And come to
marketing is
class.
everything.
Yes.
It's everything. I don't care. And I tell people, it's not just because this is what I teach, but you're going to need marketing for your entire life. I don't care what type of occupation you have or what you want to do in life. You're going to need marketing.
Yep.
So that's my selling point to them. They want to come in. They want to see the guest, no matter who it is, if it's the rapper or the local baker down the street. I do not allow other students in my class unless you're in my class because that's my selling point.
You probably the only teacher where kids literally be trying to get into classes. I was trying to get out of class.
Yeah.
And they
Yes.
fighting to get in your class.
Yes.
Okay, I got to know right now, besides Jay, of course, who is your favorite person you've had come speak and why? I know that's a big ask.
Yeah, I'm glad you said besides Jay. So you ain't got to put her on the spot.
I know.
Wow. I've had some amazing people throughout the course of years, but I will say my top
Michelle Obama got to be in the top.
I wish.
It's coming.
I wish.
Right.
Yeah, I wish y'all could have seen my face
Yes,
just
I'm
now.
going to speak that into existence.
Amen.
Yes.
I would say my top three, it would be Shayla Cowan. She's a chief of staff for Will Packer Productions.
Wow.
Kenny Burns. Love
Kenny. Yeah.
Kenny.
OG.
Help.
Now he's currently on V103, but he's a lifestyle specialist.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I
Came
would
up with
say,
Diddy back in the day, really close
Yes.
friends. Yeah.
Okay.
I would say DC Youngfly.
Really?
And I say that because DC was so transparent with my kids. Like when I say transparent, when people come in my room, I'm like, okay, you can let your guard down. You don't have to worry about this being videotaped. I want you to be real because this is what my kids need.
Yes.
They need that sense of transparency.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was so real with them. He was like, y'all see social media, you see the money, you see the fame, you see the girls, you see this, but that's not what life is about. And to me, that's what I value, that transparency. So those are probably, like I said, I've had some amazing ones, but those will probably be my top three because of their transparency.
Wow.
That's good.
Yeah.
But I love that conversation of you see the fame, you see all the things on it, because isn't that just life in general right now? That's what we all see. I posted something the other day on Instagram, and it was talking about how we see ourselves as like making it, and it has to do with like how people see us and like what our job title is and then how much money we make.
Right.
But really, in reality, what makes us like successful has to do with our mental health, who we surround ourselves with, our physical health. It has to do with our spiritual health. It has so much more than just to do with how much we make and what our job title is.
Right.
Well, the issue with that, and I tell the kids, social media has killed reality.
It has.
And that's what I love when people come in. They're like, y'all, you see this house. Well, we rented this out just to do this video. Or you see these designer bags. It's rented. We're just doing it for a photo shoot. They give them that sense of transparency. And just to have a full circle moment, I teach marketing. So I have 3 levels of marketing. So for my end of the year project, the kids have to create a business from the bottom up. They have to do everything from the business plan to the logo to the website to actually sell a tangible product. And the money that they make is theirs. So my 3rd level kids, they were like, Dr. Morrow, can we do something different this year? I was like, okay, what do you guys have in mind? They wanted to create a documentary of their time in my class over the course of 3 years.
Wow.
And it's called Smoke and Mirrors, The Illusion Behind the Door. And their thing was, people, all they see on the outside is celebrities, free stuff, free merch, free food. And that's not what we're learning here. We're actually learning core values that are going to take us on in life. So when they put the documentary together, I cried like a baby. I was like, are you serious? You really don't know the impact that you have on a child until it's being brought to you. I had a speaker to tell me, you can't see the picture when you're in the frame. And I was just like, man.
That's deep. That's
It
deep.
is.
So how did your staff and administration?
Yes, please.
Were
go
they
there.
like good for it? But after a while, they was like, all right, you popping a little too much, or have they been super supportive?
No, the school that I'm at now, my administration is absolutely amazing. They support all that I do.
Good.
I mean, I'll say, hey, can I do this? Can I bring in that? It's to the point where at the beginning of the week on Monday mornings, I send out an email to the front office and say, okay, here are my guests for the week, and these are the times that they'll arrive.
Wow.
So when they come in, it's like, okay, you're going to Dr. Morrow's class, and they'll call me and say, hey, your guest is here, and just kind of go from there. But my administration has been 100% supportive.
Good. That's good.
Wow.
They're amazing.
That's good. And you're not just saying that because they probably watch it.
No, they are.
No cap.
They are
Y'all really
amazing.
do rock. Thank y'all for
they
rocking
really
with
are.
her.
But I think that that's something that I've realized is so important is to have administration that supports you, because I think that that's a game changer
It is.
in how successful you feel like you can be as a teacher. To go from one school where you feel very like micromanaged to a certain extent, and then to go to another one that says, for summer school, if you don't like what the county has, throw it out the window. It's fine. Make it fun for the kids. Trick the kids into learning math.
Yep.
That's the difference.
Do you need chalk? You want to do no bake cookies for a ratios and proportions recipe like lesson? Sure.
I'm here for that. Let me know when y'all. I'll be a special guest.
Well, you
for
missed
this
it
cookie
already.
day.
Sorry.
You know what I'm saying?
That is so important because it makes such a huge difference. I mean, when you don't have an administrative team that supports you in what you're doing, that can make your job miserable.
Yep.
Because that's the hardest part. Like the administration, but once they're behind you and they support you, you feel that sense of value. We all want to be valued. We all want to be appreciated.
Yep.
So when you have that team that stands behind you, I mean, I tell people all the time, I love what I do. I don't view what I do as a job.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just something, I love those kids. Like when I say I love my kids,
I can tell.
Love my kids. And it makes such a huge difference when you have the support from the administration. And once you get that support, you get this community support.
I think about that. I probably, you all that don't know this, that's listening or watching, but Ryan, wave your hand, Ryan, just so that they can know you're here. Or the other way. There you go. So Ryan, our producer of the show, he handles so many other things within our company. I probably would not have been able to steal him from the school he was at had he not felt the love and the appreciation. He was doing all sorts of things, presidents of clubs, PBIS coach, but they had restrictions and shackles on him. And so when I reached out, it was a Hail Mary pass, and he got accepted accepted the opportunity to come over because he did not feel that love and appreciation, because he felt like, man, I got so much more to offer. I feel restricted here. I imagine with you were fortunate to be under administration and to work with a team of people that's like, no, we like what you do. It's different. It's progressive. Let's go for it.
I mean, it's to the point, y'all, this past year during the pandemic, my observation was during a time that I had a virtual guest speaker. Like, that's how awesome they are.
Wow.
And it's one of those things where you know your teachers. Like, I've been at my current school now 5 years, and they know me. They know my work ethic. They know my teaching style. They know everything. So literally, my observation was during a guest speaker, and it was Sarai, Brandy's daughter.
Wow.
So it was crazy.
Wow.
Yep.
That's deep.
Wow.
That's deep. So with your go for it.
Sorry. So you've got my brain going, and so I'm sure that there are other teachers out there who have their brain going, because as a math teacher, I'm like, okay, it's not just engineers that use math. Let's be honest, marketing.
Yep.
There's a lot of math that goes along with that, right? There's the financial aspect of things. And so in my head, I'm like, okay, what kind of people can I be bringing in? So I want to know the real nitty gritty of like, how do you make this work? How do you reach out to people? What are things that you really have to think about that maybe as someone that's trying to bring someone in for the first time, I wouldn't think about?
So when I first started, I put together this email.
Okay.
And I personalized the email. I told them about what I taught, what are some of the things, the skill sets that I want the kids to learn, and I targeted people that are doing the things that we're currently learning about in class.
Okay.
So we're going back to the curriculum. The curriculum is to teach math. The curriculum is to teach finance, but it doesn't tell you how to teach finance. So I may teach my kids how to write a check. You might say, well, that's obsolete now. It may not be. You got to know how to write a check. You got to know how to fill out a deposit slip, how to do a check register.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go out and find the president of the bank. Depending on what it is that I'm currently teaching, I reach out to people that way. It's not just random people or random celebrities. Yeah, I take their requests, but it has to be something that we are currently working on in the subject matter.
Yeah.
So anybody can have a speaker. It's not just because I teach marketing and entrepreneurship. You teach math. Math is in every subject area. And have the engineer to come in and say, okay, how do I use math on a day-to-day basis? But I think the misconception that people have, they see the celebrity. Everybody wants the celebrity, and that's not what it's about. Yeah, those are good, but the kids are super attentive to everybody that walks in my door. Whether it's a tax attorney, whether it's a retired colonel in the Army, it could be anything. You just have to find people that are relatable to the students based on the content that you're teaching.
That's rich.
Girl, you got me thinking.
Yeah. So would you recommend that be something? I imagine you would recommend that other educators
absolutely
see how they can bring in some special guests into their classroom to enhance what they're teaching in the lesson plan.
Absolutely. You want to bring it, you want to have a full circle moment for these kids because what the kids tell me, Dr. Morrow just taught us that. So now when you come in, you're reiterating everything that I just discussed.
Right.
So it kind of brings them back together like, okay, so she really do know what she's talking about. Right. So I recommend anybody to bring in people from the outside.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of educators because I found myself when the pandemic first hit, I always do a lot of professional development, but that thing skyrocketed because schools are trying to figure out like how do we do this? How do we keep our teachers engaged? Because they tired, they checking out mentally, this whole virtual stuff. So I remember talking to a lot of them saying this can actually be a gift. I know you'd rather be in class in person, but the fact that you can be virtual and now you can bring guests in.
Yeah.
Because now they don't have to drive across town. They don't have to come off of work. They don't have to get clearance. You just log in, give them the Zoom link, and let them teach and share.
Yes.
And so that same energy with them bringing in virtual guests, they can actually bring it into the classroom. You don't know how many thousands of educators are listening to this right now thinking like, I never thought about, you know what I'm saying, Guest Friday or on Mondays or whenever. Bring in special guests.
I'm thinking.
Yes.
That's rich.
Yeah, because we were going over literally finance. So what I did, I said, okay, we're going to have a truth moment. I'm going to invite my financial advisor to come on and speak to you all. He broke down everything, the budget sheet, the debt to income ratio. And like, this is information that we were covering. So now here it is. I have someone that's actually in the profession that I'm teaching you about to kind of help make it make sense.
Yeah.
That's rich.
That's so good.
Can you stay for part 2?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Great.
Yeah.
Because I am excited to hear more about this, and I want to hear about this past year for you, but I also want to hear about this upcoming year for you.
Yeah. So stay tuned. We'll bring her back for part 2. This is good.
Bye, guys.